Have you ever seen that good of a defense give up 54 points? That's the way it works when you've got an offense like Iowa's. We've never seen this in college football. Historians, find me a team that was one of the best in college football on the defensive side and the worst. The worst, not one of the worst. We can just say it. The worst offensive in college football. And the result that the dam finally broke. The Iowa defense could only hold it for so long. The dam finally broke, and the final result was Ohio State did surpass that ridiculous point spread of 30.5 that I thought was a little high, but I wasn't surprised that they broke through it because they keep doing it over and over and over and over, but against that Iowa defense. But despite the defensive effort on both sides of the ball from Ohio State and from Iowa, some points scored in this game, and the Buckeyes had most of them, of course, 54-10. Best discussion, debate, and analysis of college football right here at the Voice of College Football. We appreciate you being here. Please hit the like button. It helps us grow and build the channel. Share the videos out on social media. Let people know that we're here talking college football all the time, and we'll be here late night tonight with our call-in show, as we always are, after the big prime time games about 11:30 Eastern. But to wrap this one up, instant analysis, Ohio State and Iowa, 54-10. The Buckeyes are still undefeated. The Hawkeyes might be reeling toward a bad season at 3-4. All right. The main narrative coming into this one, of course, Ohio State with the number one explosive offense in the country. I think Tennessee has matched them to a certain extent. But if you look at scoring, you look at points per game, you look at points per play, all of the major metrics, it's Ohio State and it's Tennessee for the most part, but the Buckeyes, number one in the nation coming into this game in explosive plays. The Iowa defense, number one in containing, limiting explosive plays. How would it play out? Well, the Iowa offense could, of course, not give it away, and the Iowa offense started to give it away early and often. Spencer Petras with a pick to Tanner McAllister, a tremendous play by the Ohio State defense on the very first play of the day. The Ohio State defense, though, or the Ohio State offense, did not capitalize fully. The Iowa defense showed us what they were going to do for the entire, at least, first half to three quarters of the game, and that's stifle the Ohio State offense in the red zone. C.J. Stroud and Emeka Egbuka had a miscommunication. The play was there to convert a 3rd and 9 and probably a touchdown in the seam, but Egbuka was not looking for the football. CJ put it on him, not looking for the football, and so a would-be TD field goal. Buckeyes led 3-0. Joe Evans had the play of the day for Iowa. He and the Iowa defense were, again, the Iowa offense. The Iowa offense scored nothing. The defense, courtesy Joe Evans, and a stunt up front that left the blitzing linebacker straight ahead towards C.J. Stroud. Strip sack, fumble, scoop and score, recovery, 7-3, Iowa. Ohio State fans, were you worried at that point? Any nervousness at that point? Okay, just checking. Buckeyes put together their best drive of the first half, 10 plays, 75 yards. Mayan Williams ran through Seth Benson for the touchdown. The Iowa linebacker, he was there to make the play. Mayan Williams ran right through him, but it was one of the few successes for Mayan on this day. Probably his most frustrating day as a running back. 10 carries for 19 yards. That shows you how good the Iowa defense is. Buckeyes, though, take the 10-7 lead. On that series, Egbuka had a slip screen that was well executed on a key 3rd down. Julian Fleming with a tremendous catch as he broke free. And Julian Fleming, Buckeye fans, with Jackson Smith and Jigba having his issues, and of course the 2 losses from the NFL draft last season, need playmakers to step up. Well, Marvin Harrison Jr. has definitely been the guy, but Julian Fleming made a couple big plays in this one. That was a tremendous play that he made across the middle when it was still a game to haul in a errant C.J. Stroud throw to set up the score there. Zach Harrison may have had his best day as a Buckeye. What do you think? Strip sack at the Iowa 27. JSN had the fumble on his only catch of the day. So we saw JSN make a catch in the first quarter, 7 yards, fumbled, got it back, fortunately for the Buckeyes. Then we saw him later on a route to the left sideline, kind of pull up lame, left the game. Don't think he played after that, unfortunately. Torrey Taylor's one of the best punters in college football. Emphasis on punting, Torrey. Punt the football. He thought he had something open, thought he could run for the first down, and from behind, it looked wide open, but the Buckeye special teams just closed quickly, and that was an ill-fated attempt by the Iowa punter to gain a first down, and so that was stopped at the Iowa 34, but that only led to a field goal again for the Buckeyes to make it 13-7. Curious set of pass interference decisions by the officials in this one, where Cooper DeJean was hand fighting with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Wasn't anything egregious. However, he did push him toward the sideline, and pass incomplete, not called. And then the very next series, Tanner McAllister basically did nothing. I don't know what he was called for, but it was a pass interference that converted for Iowa there. Sam Laporta made the play of the day for Iowa on offense. It was a big 17-yard completion. And then later, they got the ball to Laporta again. And this is how anemic the Iowa offense and how limited. Who really is a good player on the Iowa offense? They've got Sam Laporta, a tremendous tight end. Caleb Johnson has promise at running back. Maybe there's some offensive linemen that are capable players that I'm not fully aware of them being capable players. I know that as a unit, they're not good. The offensive line's bad. The quarterback's bad. The receivers aren't that good. The running backs are okay, but they don't really get an opportunity to show what they can do. LaShawn Williams coming into the season, I thought was a capable player, good player, had a good bowl game against Kentucky last year, 3.7 yards per carry coming into this one. But Caleb Johnson's probably got the most promise. So we saw him get loose once. But anyway, to magnify or emphasize, underline the limitations is 3rd and 9. They're throwing what amounts to a screen pass to their tight end. Johnson blows up the play, and it's a loss, and Iowa kicks the field goal to make it 16-10. Again, Zach Harrison with a big play on 4th and 9, or set up the 4th and 9. It was 3rd and 9. Zach Harrison with a deflected pass, bats it down. And that's when Iowa, the Buckeyes, Jesse Mirko had punted it down to the 3. The Buckeyes stop him there. Zach Harrison has the batted pass in the end zone. And Iowa's got a punt from its own end zone. Buckeyes bring it out to the 35-yard line. Stroud rolls left. Impressive play on a 4th and 2. He connects with Ibuka. Difficult pass for him to make. He did miss Marvin Harrison III on a play, Marvin Harrison Jr., on a probable touchdown. He did miss him on that one. That's the rollout pass. Fairly easy throw for an on-the-run throw, and Stroud missed it to Harrison. Would be touchdown there. You got to think that he would have outflanked the defense to the end zone. So the Buckeyes got to kick another field goal, 19-10. But thank goodness they're playing the Iowa offense. And one of the first plays of the next drive, I have no idea where Spencer Petras was going with the football. Sometimes a quarterback will throw a bad interception, and when you watch it live, it's like, where was he throwing the ball? But then you see the replay, and you see that he either missed a linebacker in coverage because he was covered up by the line, or you could see where he was intending to throw the football. Maybe he just sailed it. This was like, I don't know. Joel Klatt on the broadcast just didn't know. Where was he going with the football? Tommy Eichenberg, pick 6. Tommy Eichenberg is playing lights out. He was coming into this game, and he had another great game for the Buckeyes. We go to the second half with a score. I think was 26-10. 26-10 at halftime. Iowa's defense, again, does everything possible to give its offense an opportunity. They're losing 26-10, come out of halftime, and what happens? Bam! Jack Campbell, tremendous interception. Did you see that catch? C.J. Stroud should have never tried to throw that ball. But anyway, Jack Campbell makes a tremendous interception, one-handed, dropping in coverage, gives the ball to the Iowa offense. Kirk Ferentz finally makes a move at quarterback. He's got a quarterback who's thrown like 3 touchdowns in a million games. 2 touchdowns this season, Spencer Petras. 2 touchdowns in as many pass attempts coming into the game as C.J. Stroud. 2 touchdown passes. The one of the very lowest passing efficiency ratings in college football. And going back to last season, he finished last season 1 touchdown, 8 picks. Anyway, finally replaces him with Alex Padilla, who has been fairly effective in spot duty in the past, but Padilla fumbles the snap. And there we go. The Iowa defense has to make another stop. Tanner McAllister with an interception off Sam Laporta. That ball was off target. Laporta could have possibly caught it, but gets a hand on it, picked to the 15. And this is really the sequence where the dam broke. Campbell gets the pick at 26-10, but Iowa fumbles it back. They stop Ohio State, but then they stop the Buckeyes, even at midfield on the punt, but then the Hawkeyes give it right back on another pick. Padilla off Laporta's hand, Tanner McAllister, another great play, pick at the Iowa 15, and this is where the dam broke. It was done. The Ohio State offense was not going to be stopped anymore. So we give a ton of credit to the Iowa defense. I have a ton of respect for those guys. For Phil Parker, the defense that he's built, it's about recruiting players, developing players, and then building a scheme that they can implement in the game. And they got all 3 phases covered like a blanket. But let's also credit the Ohio State offense, because even though it was stymied and stalled in the red zone, and credit the Iowa defense for that, the Iowa defense didn't hold them start to finish. Mid to late third quarter, Ohio State's offense started to click. Urban Meyer, I believe, said it in the pregame. He said, this Iowa defense is going to play a really good game, and they're going to frustrate the Ohio State offense for a while. But eventually, the NFL speed and athleticism by the Ohio State receivers is going to show. And it did. So they started making plays. Fleming, Abuka in particular, Harrison, of course, started to make plays. Iowa had to trust its cornerbacks, or it chose to trust its cornerbacks, and it was basically a wise decision. Their cornerbacks did hold up for the most part. They committed to the run, and the Buckeyes ran for like 38 yards between Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams. Not much there. I think Henderson had 38. Mayan Williams had 19 yards rushing. So they committed to the run, but they finally broke. 4th and 1, CJ threw the ball to the pylon. Marvin Harrison Jr. made a great catch. It was a great throw. He beat Riley Moss to the pylon, 33-10 at that point. And you know what? Game over. Buckeyes kept scoring and scoring and scoring from there. They made it 40-10, and on from there, 54-10. So Ohio State's got Penn State in Happy Valley next week. Big game for the Buckeyes. Don't be fooled by Penn State's lack of effort, lack of production, lack of a result at the Big House. Yes, Ohio State could blow out Penn State, but the Nittany Lions have the talent. They've got Michigan-level talent to make that a game. James Franklin can come up with a game plan along with Manny Diaz and company. It could be a game. The Buckeyes are decidedly better. They should be a 2-touchdown favorite in that game. And that's what it is at Happy Valley coming up next weekend. Also, Iowa playing out the string in the Big Ten Western Division. They now have 3 conference losses. But in the Big Ten Western Division, the division winner may go 6-3. And considering that Iowa has lost 2 of those games, Michigan and Ohio State out of division, If it becomes a melee in the Western Division, the only really key loss they have, the Hawkeyes against Illinois, of course, 9-6. They still have Purdue, Minnesota, Nebraska, and the rest of them in the Western Division. So it's probably a lost cause for the Hawkeyes, but mathematically they're still in it with 3 losses. 6-3 could possibly win the West. Your thoughts about the Buckeyes and the Hawkeyes? We're going to talk this one up, not in particular this game, but the future of Ohio State football for the stretch drive and the future of Iowa football, considering this continued nightmare soap opera with the offense. It's pretty obvious the moves that should be made, but what to do past that? Well, we will talk it up. We've got an Iowa live show every Tuesday at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central on the Iowa channel. So please check us out there with Corey Bratta. And then, of course, our Buckeye show is every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time on the Ohio State channel. I am off to take in 3 tremendous 3:30 games. I've got them all on record. Oregon, UCLA, LSU, Ole Miss, Texas, Oklahoma State, whichever one jumps out at me. We will have more instant analysis right here at the Voice of College Football. And if you're wondering why we go live for these, it takes too long to download a video, then upload it to YouTube. It takes like an hour. So this provides the content to you immediately. Right here at the Voice of College Football. See you after the ball games, 11:30 Eastern. Give me a call and we'll talk the day in college football, week 8, right here with you late tonight. See you then.